In a crossover which, when announced, I don't think anyone saw coming, Sonic the Hedgehog and Transformers combined to produce Blue Booster, Sonic, and Wingtail, Tails. Now, my relationship with the Sonic brand is limited to the original Sonic game and Sonic and Chaos on the Master System, but from what I can tell, with every new game released they seem to be hated, memed, and leading to now a fanbase with a similar size to botulism. So with no real nostalgia connected to Sonic, it is a shame that one of the two figures doesn't do much help with my view of the current day Sonic franchise. Immediately standing out on both bots is the eyes have about the same amount of life of my grandmother, and she died in 1997. But I do understand that Sonic and Tails do have larger eyes than the standard Transformers figure, and if you were to take a quick glance at your Chug collection, you will, pun unintended, struggle to see a pupil amongst them. With that in mind, what are you going to do? If they did have more detail in their eyes, they would look more knockoff than official. Notice the use of the word more. Because if we look at Tails' legs, they're about as hollow as a politician's apology. Well, they do need to be that hollow for the transformation, but I don't know if it's the yellow that you kind of often see in KOs or the colour scheme as a whole. It just feels egregious and like something you'd see in B&M. You don't have that issue with the Blue Bomber, as overall he's solid and his gaps are well covered, but his weapons are very questionable. While the sidekick, Captain KO, gets the gun and the blast effect, he has a ring shield that can only be held on the side of his fist, and his gun/spinny thing, which does not fit into his hand properly, strikes the same amount of fear as if the enemy turned up to the battlefield with a feather duster. It is a nice attempt to work in the Sonic branded accessories, but for me it's a miss. Sonic's transformation, on the other hand, is a hit. I can't quite tell if the mould is borrowed from someone else, but it has a very clever step, at least clever for me, which I admit isn't a high standard, where you rotate the waist, but not the lower part or the upper part of his body. The car mode is very stumpy, but again, when you're working on something that's already been established in another franchise that isn't designed for Transformers, in this case the Speedstar from the racing games, you do have to work within those limitations, but I'd still give it a 7 out of 10. Again, Wingtail is a gigantic pain in the arse, just like that time I accidentally put on my sequined underwear inside out. His wings will pop off because they are on pegs. Nowhere in the instructions does it tell you that they need to be removed, which gives me the feeling initially they weren't removable, but would have made the transformation difficult/heightened the risk of them breaking off. Now again, I don't have a huge amount of nostalgia for these two, but again, I did have hope because of what it could have led to. It is rare we get a biplane Transformer, and as a G2 fan, there is a purple plane that could quite possibly be retooled out of that red and orange little bastard. Ransack hasn't had a toy since 2009, and this could have been the opportunity, but this thing has soured me so badly on the idea that on the night in which I unboxed these two for the first time, I legitimately, I am not making this up, had a dream about a biplane crashing into the ground, ending 18 people, where I had to deal with the aftermath. So when the title of this video says, "This toy gives me nightmares," I'm not BSing. Tailwing is so bad that it is now up there with Meteorites, Freddy Krueger and the 2006 Champions League final.